I am obsessed with the kind of friendship that they develop having. It radiates power, it radiates feminism, and the first thing you do when you open this book is you take a text. It's about his lover. Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Kirsten and we have another book club episode right now. I almost forgot about it, but don't worry, it's here. I do have to say that this time it is 4 books instead of 5. I have not had a lot of time to read. I've been very tired, but I guarantee you that the 4 books that I am going to be talking about, I have a lot to tell. So let's dive right into it. With the first book being Women Don't Owe You Pretty by Florence Given. This I actually just finished a couple of days ago. Maybe you know Florence Given, maybe you don't. She's an artiste, she's an inspiration, and she's a feminist. This book, besides being gorgeous hardcover, and there are some amazing illustrations in here as well. This book covers a lot of topics and I love how honest she is and what kind of advice she's giving. A couple of the topics that she discusses are protecting your energy, saying no, not using your phone in the mornings to protect your own vibe, being your own love of your life, and maybe it's a girl crush, maybe you're queer. And again, I love how honest she talks about all of these topics, how much experiences she shares of her own life, and just the entire vibe of this book. It radiates power, it radiates feminism, and it is such a nice add to your bookshelf. I actually don't really have much more to say besides get it. It's not even that expensive, definitely not for the hardcover, but read it, own it, give it to your friends. And a quick side note, I shared this on my Instagram and I have seen that it has been shared, that post of this book, over 100 times. So that just makes me super happy that a lot of you are interested in this book. Maybe you needed a sign to read this. You can also get this as an audiobook. That was already the first book. Let's head over to the second. Being A Court of Silver Flames. A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J Maas. If you've seen a couple of my previous book club episodes, you might have spotted some of Sarah's books already. This book is part of the series called A Court of, I think actually it is named after the first book, so The Court of Thorns and Roses, and this is already the 5th book of that installment. She has also written the Throne of Glass series. I have also read the first book of a new series called Crescent City, which is in a different book episode, which is now on the screen somewhere. This one I had been waiting for such a long time, because this is maybe one of my no, I don't think I could say one of my favorite series of Sarah, but it's so good. And the fun thing about this book is the previous books of this series all follow her sister, so Feyre, and she's the main character, and the way that Maas is writing about her is amazing. Feyre turns from a kind of sort of fragile woman into this beautiful, strong female, and so this book is about her sister Nesta. There's also a third sister, maybe there'll be a book about that, I don't know, maybe. But Nesta is very different than Feyre. They're actually not, but she pretends to be. She pretends to be very unfriendly, very mean, unbothered by anything, and she just shuts out any sign of love. In this book, she finally opens her heart, obviously, because it's a book. It still has the same fantasy elements in it. So Nesta has just turned into a fae, a high fae. She was human before, and in this book she's exploring her quantities, her powers, and training to be a warrior. And I love that it basically already starts with her making friends, female friends, different kinds of friends, one being a librarian, one being a shopkeeper. I am obsessed with the kind of friendship that they develop having. You don't always read about that, and obviously as a female writer, I love that she put that in the book because it is such a huge element of, well, Nesta's life, but also of every woman's life. That was just amazing to read. And obviously she also finds her soulmate. But I'm not going to spoil anything more. I really do think that you should read this. I know that a lot of people think that Sarah's books are super overrated because they're very popular, but trust me, normally I'm with you guys being skeptical and be like, no, it's popular, so I'm not going to read it. But this, you have to read. It is worth it, and I finished this in about a week. I also think I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. If we're not Goodreads friends yet, the link to my Goodreads is in the description of this video. Honestly, Go read it. It is just amazing. I'm gonna leave it at that. So off to book number 3. Being very different, still fiction. The next one is gonna be a more serious book. Just FYI, if you wanna maybe skip that, maybe you don't like fiction. This is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. You may have seen my review on Circe by Madeline Miller. That book club episode is now also been linked on the screen somewhere, but this one was actually her first book. And so after reading Circe and being so excited about the way that she writes, and also Greek mythology. I've always been quite interested in that. I love Egyptians more, but Greek mythology is also super interesting. And this is about obviously Achilles, but actually it's about his lover. I think we have all seen Troy or maybe bits of it. I don't think I've ever watched it completely, but I did not know that he had a male lover. And can I just say that their romance is just so adorable. I just realized that adorable might sound a bit negative, but really the way that they treat each other, it's so loving. So this follows the story of Patroclus. And Patroclus is born a prince, but he accidentally kills someone, so he's turned into a bastard, and he ends up in the court where Achilles is living. So Achilles is dad. He has apparently a lot of orphans, and they meet basically from the first moment. There's this tension, friendship between them. Normally Achilles doesn't really make friends in that way, but they become instant friends when they go to the mountain where Chiron, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, where Chiron is teaching Achilles a lot of things. Patroclus follows him, which Achilles had hoped for, and on that mountain they finally come out and tell each other that they love each other. From that moment there's this romance going, and they are inseparable, but we all know that, I guess we all know that Achilles is being called to fight. Unlike Achilles, Patroclus is not really a warrior, but obviously he follows Achilles. They go to Troy, and I'm gonna leave it blank from there because I'm not gonna spoil anything. But again, Madeline Miller writes in such a compelling way. She writes about stories that aren't that typical because, again, like, I didn't know anything about Patroclus. I also didn't know that Achilles had a lover. With Circe, I didn't even know Circe existed, but it has won certain prizes for a reason. Let me look it up which prizes exactly. It was shortlisted for the Stonewall Writer of the Year 2012, and it was translated into 25 languages. Wow. But anyways, they both won a couple of awards. Go read it. I know you want it. It is worth it. Next book is Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner Office by Lois Frankl. This is the Dutch version. I borrowed this from a friend, but obviously it is in English originally. I understand if you think that this book might sound a bit patronizing, but in fact it is not. This book is kind of like a handbook of how you can strengthen your weaknesses as a woman at the office to become more successful. And the first thing you do when you open this book is you take a test, which I actually still need to erase for my friend. There are a lot of statements in here that you kind of have to rank, and based on that ranking it says, okay, you can best start with this chapter, you can best start with this chapter, etc, etc, etc. So for me, that was bringing yourself into the market, followed by playing the game, and my lowest score was with thinking. I learned a lot from this book. So the contents of this book talk about: do you tell your boss and colleagues that you're pregnant? Do you bring food and treats to work? Trying to be one of the guys and why that is a bad idea. Always saying yes to requests. Always getting coffee for everyone. I loved the chapter about being modest because a lot of women, including myself, we always downplay our achievements. Like, oh, you did that, that is amazing. Like, you see how many likes or followers that has gotten or whatever. You say like, oh yeah, it's nothing, like it was just the algorithm. No, you still played a part in that. Like I said, I am guilty of this myself as well, but that is such a huge part. Men would never ever do this. They would own their success. There's also an entire chapter dedicated to your looks, your appearance. That was eye-opening for me as well. And this edition even consists of a personal development plan that you can fill in yourself and see what you would like to improve after reading all of this. This might seem unnecessary, but if you are a woman in business, if you are a woman working in an office, I really do think that this is just a good idea to even just look through very quickly, because there are a lot of things that I didn't realize were actually an issue. Like being one of the guys, I would think that that is a good idea, but she explains with lots of experiences and anecdotes that that is actually not the case, and she does that for every single element. So it is a very dynamic book, and again, if you are a woman in business, there are so many things that you might not be aware of. So yeah, and that is the end of our very pinkish book club episode this time. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe because it helps my channel grow and reach more people just like you. There are new videos every single Wednesday, and I wish you a nice day. Thanks for watching.